Hey everyone, SHORYUKEN here. Hope you're all doing great, and I hope you all are enjoying the new Street Fighter 6 Monster Hunter Worlds collab. I definitely am. I was genuinely very impressed by how good, and how fun they made the Akuma moveset. So yeah, good job Capcom. I'm not even a Street Fighter player. And after all my experience in Smash Bros, I don't think I want to be, but maybe this has convinced me otherwise. So yeah, on this channel I talk a lot about builds and skills in Monster Hunter Wilds from this weird academic science perspective, and so because of that I thought, okay, let's try and optimize the Akuma builds and make them as strong as possible. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Can we even do much with Akuma builds? You have to use the same armor pieces, right? And yeah, that's partially true. So when you're playing Akuma, you're strongly encouraged to use the Akuma set, because it comes with a group skill called Master of the Fist, or Satsui no Hado, and that greatly improves the damage of your punching attacks. So yeah, you have to use this. However, you still have a lot of free slots, you can still change your talisman, and also you have some great and amazing variety in your weapon choice. Because your weapon for Akuma greatly improves and affects your damage. And so because you can use any weapon in the game, we have great variety in what we're going to be doing. So yeah, let's talk about the weapons. So again, your damage is improved by your weapon raw, so your attack value, your affinity value, and many different weapon skills. So weapons are going to be very, very strong. In addition to that, if you play the Hunting Horn buffs can affect you when you're playing as Akuma, so that gives some nice interesting synergy over there. Meanwhile, and this sort of changes the priorities when you're playing Akuma, Akuma isn't affected by sharpness, and isn't affected by element, and isn't affected by status. So because of that, a lot of the really good weapons for an actual weapon playstyle ends up being less good for Akuma. And stuff that we wouldn't even normally consider ends up being the best for Akuma. So yeah, let's quickly talk about weapon skills though, because that's going to be the thing that's probably going to affect us the most. So, as usual, you want to go with the good general damage boosting skills. So that's things like crit boost, attack boost, crit eye, and mind's eye. 2 boosts and 2 eyes for some reason. I'll talk more about mind's eye in my next video, which will hopefully be out tomorrow. You also have some other cool skills as well. So airborne boosts the damage of a lot of your attacks as Akuma. So all of your kicking attacks, your Tatsu, whatever they're called, and also your Shoryuken. And those are 2 very strong attacks. So airborne is basically essential for optimized Akuma. We also have some 2 interesting options. So focus boosts the cooldown, so it reduces the cooldown of your focus strike attack, so your drive impact. So normally that has a 30-second cooldown when you hit a weak point. Focus reduces that a bit, so you get it a few extra seconds earlier, which could make a difference in a hunt. And Slugger can also make stuns easier. It improves how much stun damage you do, which makes it easier to stun the monster. It might not make a huge difference, but it could make a stun easier and might give you even an extra stun. So yeah, Slugger can also be good as well. However, not every skill is useful or good. So I tried testing, I think, every gunner skill to see if it boosted the damage of the Hadouken, and none of the skills boost Hadouken damage other than normal attack. So the Hadouken is either your sort of slinger that you can use. You can also charge this up. Someone in my comments mentioned that, and I didn't know you could do that before. So if you hold the trigger button, you can charge it up. But yeah, you can't really improve the damage with any of your skills. Even your normal combo, so this Hadouken is the strongest, but also that can't be boosted by any skills. So none of that is good. In addition to that, sharpness skills aren't going to be useful, so that's stuff like handicraft and whatever else. Don't bother with that. Don't bother with draw skills, so crit draw or punching draw, useless here. Element skills is stated, useless, and bludgeoner. Bludgeoner is the skill that boosts damage when you're on green or lower sharpness. That's not useful here. In addition to that, White Flame Torrent, which is the skill you get from Zoshia weapons, that also doesn't do anything here. So yeah, a lot of these skills aren't going to be useful, but there are a lot that are useful. But so because of that, again, our priorities change. Because we don't care about sharpness and we don't care about White Flame Torrent, there's no point using an arcane weapon. Even a fully maxed out raw arcane weapon, they're still going to be less good. Zoshia weapons also aren't good either because we can't use White Flame Torrent. And those 2 are usually the meta weapons, so we didn't pick something else. And what we end up using, what ends up being optimal, are Guardian Doshigama or Doshiguma weapons. They end up being the best. Now, many weapons have slightly different stats. The best ones are going to be these 5 in terms of stats. So Switch Axe, Dual Blades, Light Bowgun, Insect Glaive, and Bow all have a Guardian Doshiguma weapon with 250 raw, which is the highest, and minus 15% affinity. So others have like minus 20% affinity. But also these 5 have 2 3 slots and 1 1 slot. I think some others have like 1 3 slot, 1 2 slot, 1 1 slot. So you want to be using one of these 5 with the highest stats. But they also have some slight differences as well. So the bow comes with a lot of gunner skills, which are useless here as stated. So the bow is probably the worst of these 5. However, the other 4 all have some interesting stuff with them. So if you use the switch axe, the Guardian Discreet switch axe, or the dual blades, you actually get focus 2 for free. And as the focus 2 can reduce the cooldown of your focus strike, so that could actually be really, really useful. The light bowgun has Slugger 3, and Slugger makes it easier to get stuns off. So that could actually be even better. And the insect glaive doesn't come with any good skills, but for some reason it gives plus 30 defense. And yeah, plus 30 defense is like 5% more survivability, which is actually considerable. So yeah, you could also just use insect glaive. So these 4 options are probably going to be the best. Of course, if you made another weapon, you could just use those as well. Just go with like the highest attack option, and you're probably not going to be that much worse than these guys. But yeah, in general, these are going to be your 4 best choices. And so let's talk about a build with those. So I just chose to use the switch axe because I thought it would be cool and fun. And so the build is what I have equipped right now. So for your weapon, by default, you want to use attack jewel 3, a flight attack jewel on the other 3 slot, and attack 1. So this way you actually get attack boost 5 along with flight, or airborne to boost the damage of your strong attacks. On the armor, you want to get 3 maximite and 3 counter strike, so those are both very good, very efficient skills. You have 2 3 slots, so one should definitely go on chain or burst. So burst 1 is very, very strong. Your last one, you have quite a bit of choice actually. So I think agitator is going to be the best general use one, but if you don't like it, you can change things up. So if you maintain uptime on Adrenaline Rush more than 50%, so that's the skill that boosts damage when you dodge, if you can do that more than half the time, then Adrenaline Rush ends up being better here. This set by default has Heroics 3, and if you like Heroics, you can replace this 3 slot with a Heroics Jewel. Even if it is a 2 slot, the other skills are just too good. But having Heroics 4 can boost your damage that way. If you want Heroics 5, you actually replace 2 points of Counter Strike, because Counter Strike, so Counter Strike's damage is like plus 10 at level 1, 5 more at level 2, and then 10 more at level 3, so Counter Strike 2 is not great. So if you want to use Heroics 5, you replace 2 Counter Strike with 2 Heroics, just in case you want to do that. Talisman, the best talisman right now is going to be the Latent Power Talisman, because we just got AT Ray down that boosts, that gave us a level 3 Latent Power Talisman. If you don't like Latent Power, which some people don't, you can use Agitator or Weakness Exploit instead. But yeah, and also if you want to use Mind's Eye, you can do that as well. In that case, you want to change your other slots, your other decorations. You go Mind's Eye 3, and then you make this one a Flight Expert deco, and you make this last one an Expert 1 deco, so that way you get Critical Eye 2. Because attack boost is really only good at like level 4 and 5 and a bit at level 1. But yeah, so if you do this, we can have a quick like showcase of damage, I suppose. So you can see that when I do like my, so when I got a crit on the weak point, that was like 70 damage. My Shoryuken is doing like 178 damage. So that's almost 800 damage on a normal combo. So yeah, that's, I think, pretty good. It's still going to be worse than like a fully optimized normal weapon, but you know, the damage is not too shabby, and that's even before Counter-Strike. I don't think I activated Counter-Strike here. Other tips, I think Evasion Mantle is probably going to be your best mantle over here. Corrupted Mantle does boost your stats, but Corrupted Mantle doesn't get any extra hits on Akuma, so yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but Evasion Mantle could be good. And yeah, so if I got Counter-Strike off, my damage would be even higher. Now, I did mention before that Hunting Horn buffs are actually really good for Akuma, and I think that's really important, because a lot of Hunting Horn buffs are actually really strong, and usually when you change weapons, the cooldown decreases, and you know, it's a bit annoying just changing like a Hunting Horn to a main weapon. But with Akuma, you know, you can buff yourself and then just immediately get back to punching, which is great. So yeah, and if you do that, the best build ends up being to use the War Conga Hunting Horn, because the War Conga has this amazing buff. So if you've never played before, basically you take out your weapon and you press the right trigger button with your dodge button, so that lets you use the Echo Bubble. And the Echo Bubble for the War Conga is insane. It gives you 10% attack and 25% affinity. which is crazy. And so if all of my skills are on, which I think they are already, you can see that my affinity goes up to 97%, along with still having some pretty good attack. So in this case, you get crit boost 4 on your weapon, and then let's put, okay, so basically if you stand inside the zone, you get the buff. If you leave the zone, the buff lingers for a short amount of time, but you should always go back to it. You can place up to 3 of these. I think you can also play other buffs while you're playing your Echo Bubble. So if you're really good at the Hunting Horn, this could actually be really good. And so when you do this, my damage now is like going to be way higher than it was even before. But you're going to expect like 800, 900 of a combo this way, which is great. So with the Echo Bubble, this set is going to be about 4.3% stronger than the Garden Dish Akuma weapon. Without the Echo Bubble, you're going to be about 10% weaker. So you need to be sort of in the buff zone at least around 65% of the time, which is possible, but not always going to happen if the monster is like charging around a lot. However, if you're playing multiplayer, then this is very, very strong. Everyone gets this massive attack bonus, and even if you can't have 5% uptime, everyone else is going to have some very high uptime and boost their damage considerably. Yeah, this Echo Bubble is actually really good. 10% attack compared to 5% affinity is insane. But yeah, I think one last thing I didn't quite mention is you also still have 5 1 slots in the build, which you can use for whatever you want. I just did 3 Divine Protection for the highest defense, and Speed Eating 2, which could make it easier to heal off when you do get hit. You can change this whatever you want. You can use like Speed Eating with Wide Range to buff your allies further if you are playing in multiplayer. You can use Quick Sheath so you can get out of your buffs faster. You have choices. The 1 slots are very flexible. But yeah, with that being said, I think that is sort of my full build review for Akuma sets. So again, the Akuma sets are going to be best with like high roll weapons. So that's the Garden Dish Akuma Switch Axe, Dual Blades, Insect Glaive, or Light Bowgun, depending on what skills or defense you may want with Insect Glaive. However, if you like buffing yourself, then the War Conga Hunting Horn is optimal if you can maintain your buffs, and is very, very optimal in multiplayer when your allies can also receive the same buffs. So yeah, I think that's all from me today. Hope you all enjoyed this one. Hope you all enjoy the next ones. As always, I thank all of you for watching and all my Patreon supporters, especially my highest tier supporters, Jack Vickim and Lumavolt. Next video will be Mind's Eye in more detail. I've got some really cool stuff from there prepared. So yeah, see you all next time. Bye.